Hey everybody, welcome back. Today is Monday, April 27th, and we are going to be starting in topic 17. So you will need your book today, open to page 432, and a pencil so that you can record your answers as we go over the lesson. All right, so topic 16 was all about basic probability. And we are going to be learning about compound events today. So, topic 17 is we are going to expand and learn about compound probability. Now, probability situations, when we have talked about them so far, an action is a process that has an uncertain result. So, in our previous topic, we worked with actions that involved only one step or one choice. Multi step actions are actions that have more than one step. So, if we read through this example right here, my action says spin the spinner once. So, this is a one step action. Over here, the action says spin the spinner twice. So this is a two-step action. So that is a multi-step. When we look at this screen, if we look at this group of people here, the action is to choose one person from the group. So that is one step. But this action for this group of people says choose four people from the group. So the number of steps that would occur for choosing people from this group is 4. So let's look at a few examples together. And it wants to know how many steps or choices does each action involve. And so our first question given to us says to choose one fruit and one drink. So you're choosing a fruit and you're choosing a drink. So together you have 2 steps. Question number 2 said that you are assigning first, second, and third place ribbons. So you have to have a first, a second, and a third. So that is a total of 3 steps. And finally, you are choosing a 6-character password. So the number of steps involved in creating that password is 6 steps. So now it's your turn. Let's go ahead and look at the first question on page 432. It wants to know how many steps or choices does this action involve? And so we are choosing a sandwich filling and a type of bread. So choose a sandwich filling and a type of bread. Your sandwich choices are cheese, ham, tuna. Your bread choices are white, whole wheat, or rye. But again, you are choosing a sandwich filling and a type of bread. So the correct number of steps is 2 steps. Very simple. Now we'll go ahead and talk about part 2. A compound event is any event that is associated with a multi-step action. So anytime we have 2 or more steps, it is considered a compound event. A compound event is composed of events that are outcomes of the steps of the action. So if we notice here, we are spinning the spinner twice, and the compound event is to spin red and then spin green. So on my first spin, I would get red. My second spin, I would get green. And right here, this is my compound event of spinning a red and then spinning a green. So notice it's 2 steps. We're spinning twice. And notice how many I have inside the parentheses. So spin twice gives me 2 results. Spin red, spin green. In this action here with this group of people, it says choose 4 people from a group. And so the compound event of boy, girl, girl, boy, So again, 4 people. So my compound event is composed of 4 letters. B for boy, G for girl, and then G again, and B. So boy, girl, girl, boy. Down in the lower left corner here, roll 3 number cubes. I'm looking for a compound event of rolling blue, a blue 2, a red 6, and a green 2. So again, 3 number cubes, 3 results inside my parentheses. And finally, my action is to choose a shirt and a pair of pants. So that's 2 actions. I want a yellow shirt with light blue jeans. And again, 2 inside my parentheses. So let's take a look at an example together before we answer the question that is in the book. And it says, check each group of jewelry on the right that shows a possible compound event for the action. The action says to choose a necklace, a bracelet, and a ring. So I need to look at these images over here. I need to find the image that has a necklace, a bracelet, and a ring. So if I look here, nope, that's just a necklace. If I look here, I have a necklace, I have a bracelet, and I have a ring. So I can check that one. Here I have a necklace, and it looks like 2 bracelets, so I'm not going to check that one. And here I have a necklace, a bracelet, and a ring. So these 2 with my check marks match the action that was being asked: a necklace, a bracelet, and a ring. So now at this point in time, it's time for you to answer this question in your book on your own. Which choices show a compound event for this action? And the action is spin the spinner 4 times. So again, you are circling, choosing which choices show a compound event for this action. So of these 3 choices down here, which one are compound events for spinning that spinner 4 times? And you should have circled number 2, because in this event, we're spinning blue, 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 blue. So we're spinning blue 4 times. You should have also circled number 3, because you are spinning red, blue, green, and then blue. Okay, so that is having us identify how many steps we have. That is helping us identify how many or what our compound events are based on an action that is given to us. Now what we need to do is we need to know the difference between an independent event and a dependent event. And I know you were introduced this last year as 6th graders, but we're going to go ahead and talk about it again this year as 7th graders. And it says 2 events are independent events if the occurrence of one event does not affect the probability of another. And that is what's super important. It does not affect the probability. So what I do in my first action will not have any impact whatsoever on my second action. That's what independent means. They are 2 separate things that are happening that have no impact on each other. So when I read this, it says choose one tile at random and replace it. So I am taking a tile. I have these letter tiles here. Notice it spells the word probability. I'm taking a tile, I'm recording it, and then I'm putting it back inside of the bag. And then I reach in and I take another and I pull a letter out, I record it, and I put it back in the bag. So it says then choose a second tile, and the compound event is choose A and then choose a B. So the probability of choosing the letter A and then choosing the letter B. Now, one thing that I notice here, so the probability of choosing the letter B It says 2 out of 11. But if you notice, don't we have the letter B missing here? So we actually need another B in here. So before we pick any tiles, you'll notice that there's 2 Bs and there's 1 A. Now, my question is this, or this independent event. If I reach in and I pull an A, I take it out of the bag, and then I put it back in the bag and choose another letter. Notice that my first choice of picking an A does not have any impact on me choosing the letter B as my second action. So this is independent. Now, words, I even underlined it here, replace. So look for words like replace or return. Those are going to be hint words that tell you that it's independent. Now let's look at dependent. 2 events are dependent events if the occurrence of the first affects the probability of the second event. So it does have an impact. The first event affects the probability of the second event. That is what is important. You have to remember that what you do the first time will impact the results of the second action that is going to happen. So in this question or example, they say choose one tile at random and set it aside. Ooh, set it aside. Am I putting it back in the bag? No, it is not going back. And so it says then choose a second tile at random. And our compound event this time is an A and a B. Now notice the first time you pull a letter, there's 11 letters in probability. Once you take a letter out, you are now down to 10 letters. So your second choice is going to have an impact on, or your first action is going to have an impact on your second choice. So words that we like to focus on here are without replacing, or for example, after Josh picked. That's just some words I chose. Those are kind of indicators as to that the event is going to be dependent. So let's take a look at an example. And we want to look at these actions and decide if it's independent or if it is dependent. And so we'll start with action number 1. The action is player 1 chooses a game piece, and then player 2 gets to choose a game piece. So you're playing a board game with your family, and your sister picks the blue pawn. And so then it's your turn and you choose the red pawn. Did your sister's choice have an impact on what you are going to choose to use to play this game? And the correct answer is it does. So this one is dependent, and I'm just going to put the letter D for dependent. Now, our action over here is to spin the spinner twice. And the compound event that I'm looking for is that the spinner will stop on green twice. So imagine you spin the spinner and it lands on green. And then you spin the spinner and it lands on green again. Does my first spin have an impact on what the result of my second spin is going to be? So because I land on green the first time, does it impact my spin, and will it force me to land on green the second time? And the answer to that is no, there is no impact. So this answer is independent. Let's look at the question that's in your book on page 433. It wants to know which compound event is composed of independent events. So question 1 says, roll a standard number cube twice. And the compound event that I'm looking for is to get an even number on both rolls. So get even and then even again. Will my first roll have any impact on what the second roll will be? Think about it. When you roll a die, if you roll the dice and you get a 5, does that 5 impact what your next answer is going to be on your dice? And the answer to that is no. This is independent. Okay, so number 1 is independent. Now, if we look here at action 2, it says toss a coin once. So I'm tossing a coin and roll a standard number cube. All right, so when I flip a coin in the air, does it have any impact on what will happen when I roll a dice? If you say yes, it has an impact, then it's dependent. If you say no, it doesn't have an impact, then it is independent. And the correct answer for this is independent. What I do on a coin has no impact whatsoever on the dice when I go to roll the dice. Okay? So, with that being said, that's our lesson. Today, you are going to start with IXL DD10, and you'll notice here that I've changed your percentage. You don't have to go to a 90. Let's just stop at an 80%. And after you are done with your IXL DD10, then you are going to go ahead and go online to lesson 17.1. That will be through your Pearson program. All right, I hope everybody has a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.